Hey, I'm Weldon Williford with eXp Realty. I'm here with your 2025 July local housing market update. Just wanted to go over some of the data. Starting to see what could be some early signs of stress in the Wayne County market. We've held up very well versus the other major markets. I know you've probably seen the news. Seems like Florida and Texas are consistently in the news for for their prices dropping drastically. You have to keep in mind that their market is slightly different than our market. We don't have the big price swings like they do. We don't get the big booms, but we also don't get the big busts either. However, there are a couple of data points that are showing up in the data. We've been kind of going along at a pretty steady clip as far as the sales. We had a fairly neutral market, and I think the market is still neutral, but there are some things that we do need to keep an eye on. And there's two things that did show up in the data in July, and we're starting to see some trends. And the two things that are concerning, one is the number of days on the market, and as well as the total number of listings. So let's get into the data. I'll pull this up for you real quick. And as you can see right here, got the Wayne County at a glance. It's got kind of a summary of the stats that I feel like are probably the most important to look at. First being the median sales price. That has held fairly steady. However, like I said, we had a very big jump early in the year. So it's kind of been camouflaged in a way because it's been dropping. We went up to a high level. But it has been trending downward over the past 3 months. So like I said, that's something we need to watch is the median sales price to make sure that hangs in there. If we start seeing a big drop in these prices, then that's something we need, like I said, to be aware of. The thing that's concerning to me mostly is the average days on market for July. 76 days for July is a really, really high number. Typically we only see this time period in the wintertime. It's very normal, actually. We're still under the norms for Wayne County historically. If you go back years, you're looking 3 months, average sale time. But now I do feel like that the internet has sped that time period up because people are no longer using books to find houses, or now when a house hits the market, it's basically immediately available on the internet for everyone when that happens. So but the 76, that is a multi-year high for July, and actually a multi-year high in general for total number of days on market. So like I said, we're starting to see a little bit of a crack possibly in the market. Same thing with the sold to list ratio, still fairly strong. There's a lot of buyers. Again, it's summertime. That's when the buyers are out. They're going to be looking to buy. So, you expect to see, more buyer participation, which is going to push that ratio up. However, that did fall to an extent. 166 new listings. We are seeing more new listings on the market, and again, because the solds actually went down, we're seeing the total number of active listings increase. Now, that's good if you're a buyer because obviously you've got more inventory to pick from. But again, like I said, it's something to watch. I do feel like the market is still fairly balanced, but I think it's starting to swing more to a buyer's market, especially if you start seeing this average days on market keep creeping up. And then, like I said, 110 sold listings actually decreased from the following last month. So let's go to the next screen here. Again, I'll show you the days on market. Again, you see all the way back. I think this goes back to April of 2024. You can see, obviously we have a clear trend now. I was, last month. I was hoping we kind of avoided the whole market decrease like they're seeing in some of these, like I said, Florida and Texas markets. But it looks like, we're still going to follow along, maybe not as severe, but you can see that was a huge jump here in the average days on market here from June to July. So, and like I said, this is during the summer months when people are supposed to be out purchasing property. And then, as I said, the number of listings, again, we're at multi-year highs here, something to watch. Again, the number of sold listings, we're trending downward here. So again, I don't like, with the data, you do get a lot of noise in the data. So, 1 month doesn't make, tell you a whole lot. But the fact that we have seen a decline in the number of sold listings for 3 months in a row, as well as, like I said, increase in the total number. That is something to watch, and just continue to follow along. Like I said, I'll be posting next month to see if this number can pick back up for us, or if it continues that trend. And finally, we've got list prices. List prices keep going up, and I've kind of analyzed the data, and I really believe that has more to do because of the amount of new construction that is being sold in this area. Again, people are clinging to their 3% mortgage rates. So, I understand, like I said, who wants to sell their personal house and then go jump into a 6.5% mortgage at the prices that there are now. So everybody's kind of sitting tight. But what that has done is pushed buyers, over to new construction, and builders typically, they're being squeezed right now because lot prices have gone up. We got inflation from materials going up, and so, like I said, they're trying to maintain their profit margins. And so what they tend to do is they will sell their homes typically at the listing price, and they'll give some promotion, a rebate, lots of different things like that. And they don't necessarily show up, doesn't show up in the data. That is something I know a lot of analysts and regulators are looking at, because technically, if a builder is selling a house for $300,000, but he's given $30,000 in rebates and promotions, and technically he sold the house for $270,000. So it's kind of making the data look, skewed, and we're seeing a lot of that now. So, but that's the data. That's what I'm seeing for July. Again, it's something I'm going to be watching over the coming months. Like I said, we are seeing like some early signs of stress, and like I said, it's good for home buyers right now, because like I said, there is more inventory to choose from. As a home seller, my advice is, like I said, if we're doing a market analysis, when we're looking at comparable sales, you really need to be conservative. I think now when you go to put your home on the market, like I said, because the average days on market now is up to 76. So again, that's, so when you're looking at pricing your home, you're just not going to be able to get that get that super premium right now. I still think we have like I said, a steady market, and obviously it's a market that's functioning, which is good, which means if you need to sell a home, you can, and you can still get a fair price for it. Like I said, buyers are still paying, almost 98% of asking price. And I'll look back over to that page and show you, like I said, 97.6%, sell to list ratio. But now keep in mind, there have been a lot of price reduction. So, and I'm sure if you look online, you'll see that in the on Zillow and different places, a lot of price reduction. So it's 98%, but it's 98% possibly of a reduced price. So also keep that in mind. So, but that's the July data at a glance. And what I like to do now is kind of tell you a little bit about my home seller program. Let me click over to that page. There we go. With the mygoldsboro.com home seller program, basically it's a full service. I'm a full service realtor, and I will list your home pretty much cheaper than just about any agent in this area. And basically the list side would be 1.6%, and this is for your standard, home in a, residential neighborhood. Like I said, there are some restrictions that apply. However, I generally will meet or beat any other agent's commission. Like I said, if you've interviewed with other agents, give me a call. I should be able to, possibly beat that and give them, the same service. Um, Generally, if I, and the other thing is, if I do sell the home myself, I do also give a discount on the buyer agency side. So typically, if I sell the home personally, you could sell your house for as low as 3%, which is really unheard of. In the old bygoldsboro.com program, for years it was 4%. Even if we sold it, if I sold it myself. So now, you can do that for 3%. So if you go to mygoldsboro.com, you can see, kind of get all the details on that program. I've got, some of the restrictions and this and things about that, and you can see what I have to offer. And there are some premium services available. So if you decide you want, drone footage, you want some fancy tours, things like that, I can also add those in just as well, as any other agent can. And then for home buyers, I wanted to show you as well. If you're a home buyer, if you go to my home search homepage, it's weldonwilliford.exprealty.com. And I went ahead and I've got some popular searches in here set up for you, so you can see. I kind of went ahead and put those in for you. So if you're just interested in new construction, you can just click here. And I've already set up the areas for you, so you don't have to do any searches. Again, this is primarily for Wayne County, that is my primary market. But keep in mind, I can show houses all the way from Fayetteville, Garner, Clayton, all the way to the coast, all the way down to Wilmington. I've sold houses down in Southport, down near the beach. So like I said, I have a broad area. It's just that Goldsboro, Wayne County is pretty much where I've worked most of my career. So, but I've got several searches here. Northern Wayne County has always been popular, primarily because it's had the top rated schools in the area. So I went ahead. I've already got you a search here. You just click on that, pops up everything. If you're looking for land, lots, things like that, you just click there. And then if you're PCSing in your military, and you want to know a house, I know depending on what position you're in, you need a house that's within 15 minutes of the base. And so you can click right there, and I've already done the kind of the search for you, and just to save you some time. Now you also can do a general search. You can put in whatever parameters that you'd like as well. And again, like I said, if you have anything specific you want me to do a deep dive, I'm really good at finding property. Like I said, I've been practicing here for 26 years. I grew up in this area. I was born in Wayne County, so I know the ins and outs. I know where all the flood zones are. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. So, but anyway, that is the July 2025 market update. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. My number is 919-921-2085. That's 919-921-2085. Have a great day. This video or live stream is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Any information that is given is my sole express opinion and in no way represents the views of eXp Realty, the National Association of Realtors, or the Goldsboro Wayne County Association of Realtors. Any information, advice, or opinions shared are not to be construed as forming any kind of agency representation or any agent-client relationship. If you would like a more personal one-on-one consultation and agency representation, give me a call and I'll be glad to get that set up for you. No information given during any video or live stream should be taken as legal advice. If you have any legal questions, always seek the counsel of an attorney. Information for videos and live streams come from various sources. I in no way guarantee the accuracy of these sources. As always, do your due diligence and verify any and all information before acting upon anything you have seen or heard during a video or live stream.